Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News today, 19th May 2026. Equivalent Islamic calendar, second day of Zulhijjah 1447 after Hijrah. I am Hamida Muhammad Idris and headlines. Federal government direct settlement of media debt within 45 days. University lecturers threaten strike action over unpaid entitlements. Nigeria and U.S. forces kill scores of terrorists in Northeast. On the international scene, U.S. chefs plan Iran attack following Arab leaders' intervention. And on sports update, Super Eagles draw in Port A for 2027 African qualifiers. These are more news to be coming to you in the bulletin. Thank you for joining and now the news in details. The government has ordered the settlement of media debt within 45 days, describing it as a long overdue step toward restoring financial discipline and stability in the sector. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, who championed the directive, has continued to draw reactions from practitioners and stakeholders who say persistent payment delays have weakened agencies, destabilized media organizations, and contributed to job losses across the communications value chain. Nigeria's advertising and marketing communication industry beyond regulation, describing it as an attempt to address long-standing structural indebtedness that has undermined confidence and strained business operations across the sector. Former ADCON chairman Udeme Ufot noted that the directive is both timely and necessary, noting that the industry has long operated in a structure that places service providers at disadvantage. Also, former president of the Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria, Bumi Oke, described the directive as a positive reform step, but stressed that enforcement will determine its effectiveness. Tension flared in Abuja as family members of the former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, alongside his political allies and loyalists, staged a protest at the headquarters of the Department of State Service DSS over his continued detention. The protesters, which include family members, a senator representing Kaduna Central, Lawal Adamu Usman, and other loyalists, accused security authorities of moving the former governor in violation of subsisting court directives that, according to them, place him under the custody of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC). The protest came amid rising worries from the family over El-Rufai's prolonged detention, which they said had lasted 91 days, and what they describe as repeated denial of access to medical care and legal rights. One of El-Rufai's wife, Asiya, who addressed journalists outside the DSS facility, said the family was living in fear and under constant pressure from security, surveillance, and threats. The former governor had earlier appeared before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik of the Federal High Court, who granted bail and stood the matter down until 1 p.m. Also, El-Rufai's son Bello, a member of the House of Representatives, alleged that the bail conditions imposed were deliberately structured to be difficult to meet, describing the entire process as politically motivated. In another development, a Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has fixed May 26 to deliver judgment in the suit challenging former President Goodluck Jonathan's eligibility to contest the 2027 general election. Justice Peter Lefo fixed the matter for judgment after all parties had adopted their briefs of argument, while the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, who was listed as a defendant in a matter aligned with former President Jonathan in seeking dismissal of the suit, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) shunned the legal action as it had no legal representation in courts. But the Attorney General and Jonathan asked the court to award substantial costs against the plaintiff, who is an Abuja-based lawyer, in an affidavit of fact that was deposed in support of the suit by Juan Emmanuel Aguida. The plaintiff contended that its former President Jonathan wins the 2027 presidential election, which is for a term of 4 years spanning 2027 to 2031. He would have exceeded 8 years, being the cumulative maximum years a Nigerian president is statutorily permitted to stay in office. Justice Lifo held that the ruling on objections to the suit will be delivered alongside the judgment. An Abuja High Court on Monday upheld the arrest warrant earlier issued against former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Sadiya Umar Farouk over alleged fraud involving $1.3 million and 746.7 billion naira. The presiding Judge Justice Jude Odubezi held that the bench warrant issued against the former minister on April 16, 2026 will remain in force. Farouk is being prosecuted alongside Bashir Noor Al-Qali and Sani Nafi Muhammad by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC on charges on alleged criminal conspiracy, abuse of office, and diversion of public funds. At the resumed proceedings, counsel for the EFCC, Rotimi Jacobs, informed the court that the matter was slotted for arraignment, but noted that the first defendant, Farouk, was absent without explanation. He, however, urged the court to vacate the warrant against the second defendant while sustaining the order against the former minister. The judge subsequently ruled that the arrest warrant against Farouk remained active, adjourned the matter till June 8, 2026 for arraignment. So in the news, the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU has accused the federal government of failing to fully implement the 2025 federal government ASU agreement just 5 months after both parties signed the deal aimed at restoring stability to Nigerian universities. ASU Abuja Zone said, contrary to recent claims by the Minister of Education Tunji Alausa that the agreement had been fully implemented, lecturers across federal and state universities were still battling unpaid entitlement, salary shortfalls, pension crisis, and irregular welfare packages. The Abuja Zonal Coordinator of ASU, Adamu Abdullahi, during a press conference held at Nasir State University, Kepi, on that the government's failure to faithfully implement the agreement could trigger fresh industrial unrest in public universities. He, however, lamented that it's exactly 5 months since the fanfare that accompanied the signing of the ASU agreement after a protracted negotiation spanning 8 years. The union further accused the federal government of abandoning the implementation framework agreed upon during negotiations and allowing universities to apply the agreements selectively. African Democratic Congress EDC has screened over 70 governorship aspirants ahead of a 2027 primary elections, with party faithful commending the exercise as transparent, professional, and consistent with democratic standards. The screening, which took place in Abuja, attracted aspirants from several states, including Adamawa, Delta, Benue, Zamfara, Plateau, Bauchi, Jigawa, Lagos, Nasarawa, and Rivers State. Chairman of the Senate's Committee on Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Muhammad Onao, described the process as thorough and fair. According to him, members of the screening committee demonstrated professionalism in reviewing documents and engaging aspirants on critical issues. Onao, however, expressed optimism in the EDC's chances in the 2027 governorship election, particularly in Nasarawa State, citing his political experience and what he's described as growing public support for the party. He also argued that internal crises within some major political parties have created opportunities for the EDC to expand its electoral footings across Nigeria. The news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television. So to come in the news, Nigeria, U.S. forces kills scores of terrorists in Northeast. On the international scene, U.S. chefs plan Iran attack following Arab leaders' intervention. And in sports update, Super Eagles draw in Pot A for 2027 African qualifiers. These are more news to be coming to you after this break. To stand by. partial breakup of the news continues. Nigerian troops in collaboration with the United States Africa Command killed over 20 ISWAP fighters during a coordinated strikes in the northeast Nigeria. Director of Defense Information Major General Sama'ila Uba in a statement said the strikes form part of sustained operations aimed at dismantling terrorist networks and denying insurgents safe haven in the country. He explained that the operation was carried out in the general area of Maitel in Borno State following intelligence reports on the convergence and movement of terrorist elements within the region. They also stated that the ongoing operations were designed to disrupt terrorist activities, remove fighters from the battlefield, and prevent insurgents from regrouping. Uba, however, emphasized that terrorists threatening citizens and national stability will be located undefeated, saying that there will be no safe haven for all terrorists anywhere in Nigeria. The government has been asked to urgently decongest its correctional facilities and end the prolonged detention of awaiting trial inmates. The Community Court of Justice ECOWAS gave Nigeria 6 months to submit a detailed compliance report including updated statistics on the number of inmates released or prosecuted in a ruling delivered on 15 May 2026 and made public through a statement. The court held that the continued detention of a large number of awaiting trial inmates coupled with overcrowded prison conditions violated several provisions of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The court found that the situation breaks the right to liberty, dignity, fair hearing, resumption of innocence, and the right to trial within a reasonable time under the Charter, as well as Nigeria's obligations to uphold international human rights standards. Moving to the foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump has put on plans to attack Iran following calls from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. He made this morning a post on his Truth social media account on Monday. President Trump further explained that the strike was planned for Tuesday, but he was asked to hold up because serious negotiations are now taking place between the U.S. and countries in the Middle East and beyond. The U.S. leader also noted that the request came from Qatari Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. So on foreign scene, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has warned member states of risk of Ebola virus disease, EVD, importation into the region following a fresh outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and confirmed imported cases in Uganda. The ECOWAS Regional Center for Surveillance and Disease Control RCSDC said the outbreak caused by the Bundibugyo strain of the Ebola virus had already resulted in hundreds of suspected infections and over 100 deaths in the Congo. According to the statement, the Congo Ministry of Health on 15 May 2026 declared the country's 17th Ebola outbreak after laboratory analysis of 13 samples confirmed 8 positive cases of the Bundibugyo strain. The patient reportedly died at a medical center in Bunia, Ituri province. ECOWAS disclosed that as of 16 May 2026, authorities in the DRC had recorded 393 suspected cases and 105 deaths, including 4 among confirmed cases across 9 health areas in Ituri province. Finally, to the sport and scene, Nigeria Super Eagles have been drawn in Pot E for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations qualification. The draw will hold at the headquarters of the Egypt Football Association. EFA said Morocco, Senegal, Algeria, Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, and Tunisia are some of the continent's heavyweights also plays in Plot A. It added that 48 countries will participate in the qualifying series for the tournament, which will be co-hosted by 3 countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. The first 2 teams in each group will qualify for the tournament, which will run from 19 June to 17 July 2027. Finally, on the news, the top stories again. The government directs settlement of media debt within 45 days. University lecturers threaten strike action over unpaid entitlements. Nigerian U.S. forces kill scores of terrorists in Northeast. On the international scene, U.S. chefs plan Iran attack following Arab leaders' intervention. And on sports update, Super Eagles draw in Port A for 2027 African qualifiers. That's it on Standard Voice Television Global News for today. On behalf of the production crew led by Elia Adamu Auta, I am Hamida Muhammad Idris. Thanking you for investing your time and staying with the news.